Heyo, we're live for Beat the Banks, our free community training from Beacon DeFi that happens every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Good to be with you guys. I'm Professor Chris, here with someone you know from our TVL podcast on Wednesdays. He was sick this past week, so he didn't get to join us for the Woman Founders episode. We have Robert back from Talisman. How are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Happy it's Friday. I'm wearing an XRP hat for luck, so hopefully the market continues to run do well. But I guess we will see what happens. We probably should we probably should start and look at the markets first, because that's something that we haven't done all that often on this. But let's go ahead and do it. Holding strong at 103 again. Ethereum is outperforming everybody, so that's a good sign. What's interesting is if you look at these two charts, they are correlated, but they're not as correlated as they should be, which is interesting to see, because Bitcoin was very much outperforming Ethereum for the first part of this year. Ethereum is now catching up a bit, and hopefully we get them to reclaim 2,700 and then 3K, and then it's off to the races from there. Solana is actually down this past hour, but they're actually doing okay, all things considered. But overall, the market's an interesting spot. Any thoughts on the market, Robert, before we move on to the topics we were going to talk about today for BTB?
Yeah, I think that's most notable. The ETH BTC chart has been just brutal for the past 5 years, maybe, or for years now.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for at least the last couple.
At least the last 2 to 3 years, right? And so it seems like it's starting to break out of that. It's a very strange chart if you look at it. It's like a curve down. It's a very bizarre chart, but I think that could be cautiously optimistic, a signal that not only is ETH starting to turn around, but altcoins in general. So
let's see if I can get a better chart here. Oh, where's the super view? There we go. Super charts. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see that's kind of just like a slow bleed there, kind of curving down.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is for the most part what we're looking for, right? We're looking to see a good ratio here. Obviously, back during the bear, we were looking to accumulate a lot between this range of both of these majors. But now that it's been, very much outperforming since, that time, hoping to see some movement here. Apologize for my cat in the background. The other one that we look at is BTC dominance. Stop. I did choose a BTC Dom chart, right? Oh, okay, because I'm not logged in. Anyway, BTC dominance well over 60%. That is something that we also look for when we're looking at how DeFi, should be behaving overall. But now that Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, as you can clearly see by this, if we start getting up into this territory, we're definitely considering a rotation over, and it's looking to look like altcoin season, because that's where we go. BTC rises, then ETH, and then altcoins, and then the rotation back into stables, and we hit that lovely landing, and we start the cycle all over again. So that's what we are looking for. So wanted to talk about the big news, and this is interesting for two reasons. Number one, Coinbase is joining the S&P 500 on Monday. Did you hear about that news, Robert?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually huge for crypto. It's a watershed moment to see that that Coinbase will be amongst NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, a lot of these big hitters as a major force on the charts. So Wall Street gets it. It's time for you all to get it too. Let's start this retail rally back into the markets. But this is untimely news. Let's kind of figure. Let's just go ahead.
This is the implication there, or the effect. Effectively, that means that that a lot of retirement funds and mutual funds automatically have access to crypto now, or
Yes.
automatically are exposed to crypto now through Coin, right? So
Exactly. And I think that's for those of you who are longtime coin accumulators and coin holders, congrats. It's going to be a really good ride, I think, going on from here. But what I have on the screen now, not necessarily so great for Coinbase, but let's kind of talk about it because it's fudded, which I'm a little surprised by the people who are fudding this. A lot of people are like, well, I didn't use Coinbase anyway. Well, that doesn't really matter, to be honest, because you could have used them once and be affected here. So couple things that you should know. First off, if you are affected, you should have already been emailed. You should have been emailed roughly around, Thursday, so yesterday, May 15th, around 7:20 a.m. Eastern time. So check your email inbox, the email that you use for Coinbase, if you are a Coinbase user, and you can find out if you are affected by this. Basically what happened is that a cyber criminal group got into the pockets of some rogue customer support people. So basically, they funded a customer support team to work for Coinbase that clearly gained a lot of information with regards to social engineering attacks. Now, what they did get is name, address, phone, email of these users, a masked social security. So it's not a complete PII leak. They did get masked bank account numbers and some bank account identifiers. Generally, that would be an ABA or a routing number. That's normal. That's a public database. They did get the government ID images. So, yeah, I mean, that goes with name, address, stuff like that. And Coinbase account data, meaning your balance snapshots, your transaction history. Not necessarily, they don't get access to your funds. They don't have access to any of your DeFi wallets. I don't think. Maybe a DeFi wallet that you possibly withdraw to. But they didn't get any 2FA codes. They didn't get any private keys. They didn't get any access to Coinbase Prime or any customer or Coinbase team hot or cold wallets. This is the part that's probably the good part, right? So this stuff right here, honestly, there's a lot of groups that have this information now. I can tell you that I am regularly getting messages. I thought I got breached because I've been getting multiple messages in the last couple months since January of saying, your Coinbase deposit has been confirmed. Click here to double check on this or something like that. And essentially they feed you a link, you go to it, and that's how you get phished. Don't do that if you're getting in that situation. If you did not instantiate a trade or anything like that, do not assume. Coinbase will never reach out to you on your behalf before you do an action like that. So keep that in mind. I know it's very easy to just get an email and go, oh, I should probably check on that. If you did not instantiate something, you definitely should not do that. Now, what you can also do is double check the email from where it came from and a variety of things. There's a couple of different things that we can talk about with regards to security that you should be doing regardless. But in the event that your address, phone, email have been compromised, they are offering if you lost any money, they're going to make you whole. In fact, I believe this is like $400 million that they're eating to do this. Extra customer safeguards, which is good to see. What's the one thing we say, Robert, is that a lot of the stuff in DeFi is battle tested, and unfortunately, the only way to become more battle tested, more hardened, is to have these events. As unfortunate as they are, they just do nothing but make the system stronger, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And they said they're going to stay transparent. And I'm sorry, it's $20 million for. Oh, there's a $20 million reward fund because they tried to extort them for $20 million. If you are an AT&T customer, or if you have been at some point, they got breached pretty damn hard in January. In fact, that's why I think I'm getting a lot of the text messages and the emails I'm getting is thanks to AT&T. And there are some other data breaches, some pretty high profile ones that have happened in the last 18 months that are contributing to a lot of bad actors reaching out to you. These are reasons why we say from a security standpoint, have a crypto only email so that these things don't get mixed up into your regular everyday life. Because I know, especially for people who use OpenSea and stuff like that, don't use your personal email for that. Use a crypto only one for that so that you can isolate as much of that there as possible, because if you own a high value NFT, you have a target on your back, guys. Just keep that in mind. But hopefully you knew that when you bought that ape or whatever else is in there. They are working to trace the stolen funds. I believe they are working with the FBI specifically, and I guess they're working with Interpol to try and find these people. But yeah, here's the thing. Expect imposters, expect scammers. This is what we call operational security, or OPSEC. And this is something that you should take very seriously, honestly. You should be expecting someone to try and test your security. You should always do that. Now, I've seen some posts on the timeline saying that if you are, I'm not advocating for gun violence or, self-defense in your home, but there are people who are talking about making sure that you have guns with ammunition loaded up in a safe spot. I don't know if that's necessary, but I can tell you, I have been taking pause with some of these founder attacks. So if people know you have money, you really should. It just sucks for me to even talk and think about it, but it's something we kind of have to talk and think about as people in the space, right, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Ledger leak from like a few years ago. Where it's like they didn't really steal any funds,
but they got information, and that can be used to get you.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of that is about like personal security, just being as discreet as possible, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the great thing about being in DeFi is that you can make yourself very untraceable if you need to, and you should take advantage of that for these reasons alone, right? If you happen to have a wallet that you've regularly used, I would recommend you start moving wallets to new wallets, just to be safe. Use new addresses. You can use them within because your seed phrase gives you hundreds of addresses. I would start moving to other ones. If you're in a situation where you possibly are part of a breach and you have not been good with your seed phrase security, you may want to consider getting a new seed phrase wallet, or just a new seed phrase period, and start migrating to those wallets. I think it's probably best if you have any doubt, consider rotating. I mean, this is something we talk about anyway. You rotate your wallets once every 18 to 24 months anyway. Obviously, that's not good for you if you're trying to farm airdrops, but there's a lot of ways to track you in this space. People like these unstoppable domains, right? Getting a .eth address or stuff like that. If people know who you are, they're gonna be able to track these things. So it's all about how open do you want to be. Like, good luck to all those people who got the Sol, the SNS, the Sol naming service airdrop. I heard that was huge. Congrats on that. Not gonna be me, man.
I got the ENS airdrop a few years ago.
And that was pretty good.
Yeah, but then I actually kind of actively stopped using that address because it has my name on it.
Sorry, I have my oldest baby girl cat is starting to. She's very upset for some reason. She's just running out of here meowing and.
She's impatient, waiting for the altcoin season.
Yeah, that's what it is. She's barking. Be safe. She's like, that's right. Be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Do all the safe stuff.
And be prudent about like linking any personal information with wallets, because it's like, it's very easy to scrape that information.
Yeah, and frankly, I mean, for people who are like saying this is terrible, Coinbase, this is no different than when you sign up for shit through like a magazine subscription, or you're trying to win that boat that you see out there, right? You want to win that car that you saw in the mall, that truck, whenever you put your name into a system for like a sweepstakes or something like that, guess what, guys? They're selling that information. I can tell you that because I used to work for a data broker for 5 years. They know a lot about you. Everything gets sold, guys. Voting records, utility bills, change of address, all of that's tracked and sold. If you didn't know that, now you know. It's not hard to find out who you are. And in a world where we want personal shopping, we want our apps to know who we are and give us great recommendations, they sell that too. It's kind of sick when you think
I mean,
about it.
yeah, think about the experience. Or think about the Experian hack.
Yeah.
That was
that one was bad.
huge.
Huge.
Yeah,
And yeah, they sell
that
all
was
that
probably,
information, guys.
yeah.
They sold it before the breach. Doesn't matter about the breach now. They're selling it. Why? Because
Mhm.
they can, quote unquote, not personally identify it's you. Well, guess what? They can put the puzzle together with a bunch of other stuff. Uh, you just got to you got to understand what's out there. That's why Web3 is so important in a world where you get to own your own data. Granted, we didn't start there, but now we have the ability to finish in that vein. So in a world where you get to own your own data, you get to control who knows who you are and what your finances, what your medical data, your personal human markers, that type of stuff. These are things that shouldn't be sold to companies. You should be able to own this stuff, and you should be able to control where it gets seen and by whom. And that's what Web3 both promises and in some cases delivers on. We're still working on a lot of this other stuff, right? We're still working on private blockchains and places where there's full anonymity, private blockchains with private smart contracts, so you can't track anything. There's always a trade-off on that, so you guys know. Like most of these new ZK places or places where you have complete security, you do have to KYC, which means you have to provide personally identifiable information of yourself, whether it's a passport or a driver's license. The trade-off for that is, yes, you will get full anonymity, and nobody will be able to track what you're doing. But there is always a trade-off for that. So either you get the service that uses you as a product for free, or you can pay for a service that provides you anonymity with the side effect that they still know who you are. So they still know who you are regardless. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, the ideal situation would be, I suppose, like a ZK chain for identity where there was absolutely no central control of the data that you KYC.
Yeah. Well, there is a chain that's doing that, but they scan your iris, right? WorldCoin. But there's
Yeah.
things like Civic, right? There's these other decentralized ID protocols that have been around for a while.
Or like Kilt's protocol.
Yeah. We'll see how it all kind of plays out. I'm curious to see how it plays out, but we'll see how it plays out. So yeah, in the event that you are affected or you're curious to know how can I prevent myself from getting affected by stuff like this in the future, the question is by having good operational security. I'm going to bring up a couple different trainings we've talked about just to show you that this stuff still tracks. It's funny because with our older Beat the Banks trainings, I remember the first one we ever did, Robert, back in December of 2021. I was starting to go through and I talked about security, and people got upset. They're like, I don't want to hear about this. I want to hear about where's all the great rates. I'm like, first of all, if you don't have good security, who cares what the rates are? Because you're about to get owned. And don't be mad at me when that happens to you. And most of those people aren't in crypto anymore. Why? Because they did stupid things and they got yoinked. You don't let that be you. You will get wrecked with that mindset. Security is the only way to protect your wealth and your gains. And with a group like ours, at our fantastic group, I'm not segueing to that, but school.com/beacon. Absolutely free to join. Join Total Value Locked. You can learn more about the stuff we're talking about today. Anyway.
That's SKOOL.
Yes, SKOOL. Thank you. I still get people today that come back and say, Chris, I wish I would have listened to you. It's a shocking amount of people. Shocking amount of people. Let's talk about some other things you can do for your security. First of all, get a crypto-only email. Do not mix the email you get for sales at Old Navy or notifications about your utility bills, your mortgage. Keep that separate from your crypto stuff. Please, I implore you. You will appreciate me for isolating these things away. A throwaway Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook is fine. Or we recommend Proton. It's a great service. It's based in Switzerland, where they are very highly specific about privacy rights. And good luck suing them for them. You're not going to win. You're just not going to win. Proton Mail, I believe. Well, you can get a Proton Mail account for free. It's absolutely free to do. But they also have VPN, they have password management, and file storage. I think there's a whole suite of things. Do you use Proton at all?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a Proton account.
As you should. Proton.me. This is not an ad for them. We're not partnered with them.
I do have Proton email and VPN.
There you go. Now the mail is free. The VPN, all the other stuff is not. But I think they have a bundle. Yeah, because they have a wallet. I'm all like, There's a bundle. I think it's less than $20 if you want all this together, which is fine. But yeah, privacy should be a basic human right. It is not in this world. So make sure you're using a private email provider. We recommend Proton just for that, just on principle alone. But you can use a throwaway Gmail, throwaway Yahoo, throwaway Outlook. Just know that also set a strong password for that. Make sure you're using a VPN. We're actually having a group on Wednesday. Just put a post out about it on our Twitter. Taufu, they're building Subnet 56, which is the Tau private network. Isn't that cool? VPN built on top of BitSensor. I love it, Robert. What do you think?
Yeah, that's an excellent use case for BitSensor.
Exactly. They'll be the guest on the show on Wednesday. They're coming out with a product soon that you guys are definitely can take advantage of. Otherwise, of course, we do have an affiliate deal with NordVPN. If that's something you're interested in, please join our group. We have a link to that there. We'd love for you to sign up for them through us. We'd greatly appreciate the kickback. Use a password manager. I still get the ick, man. When I'm on with somebody and then they can type out their password in 10 characters or less. Get the ick, bro. I don't like it. I don't like seeing it. My master password is more than 30 characters long, just so you guys know. And using a password manager, I don't have to know any of them. I just have to know my master password. And yeah, it's all about making sure that you do that and not leaking out passwords. I mean, I'm not gonna try and put my wife on blast, but she has a clipboard. I know a lot of people that have a clipboard with like a little piece of paper that's been folded up 15 times, and it's all wrinkled and all that type of stuff. I mean, even if you put it in a safe, that's better than actually keeping it out in the open. But you should be using a password manager for stuff like that. We always recommend Brave Browser. Brave Browser is like Chrome, but it's privacy focused. That's the main reason why it's great. And use profiles. Now, if I cannot convince you to use something like that, please use a separate Chrome profile. Up here, using this button, as you can see, I have multiple profiles here. They are for different environments, different wallets, different ecosystems, different reasonings. You should learn to get into the habit, right? You should get into the habit, not learn. Get into the habit of segmenting a lot of your activities. That way you don't get a whole lot of things crashing into each other because they do have their own inherent risk. And buy a hardware wallet, guys, especially with EIP 7702 getting passed. It's to your advantage to make sure that you have a second factor to make sure that, especially if you're farming, that no one can get to your stuff. This is a Nano S. This is Nano X, Ledger Nano X. We recommend Ledger just because it has the most ecosystems you can go to. Trezor is great, but Trezor only goes to EVM. It'll support some coins, but you can actually go to yield farming positions using a Ledger, and that's the reason why we recommend them. Anything I'm missing here that you have any thoughts about, Robert?
I think you got it covered pretty well there.
Cool. I would recommend a Nano S Plus, $79.99. You can get the black one at Best Buy today. If you want to walk to a Best Buy in the United States, you can get one right there. $79.99. They're normally in stock. Otherwise, definitely go through a big box store like Amazon, Walmart. Make sure it's coming from the group. Ledger has a store directly on Amazon. You can use it there. S Plus is for $79.99. Will feature all the stuff of the $150 Nano X. Better colors, newer build. Worth it in my opinion, just to get that one to get started. If you want to get an Nano X or a Stax or a Flex later on, go ahead. Do what you like. But if you're just getting started, just get the S Plus. You won't regret it. Nope. have a couple of different things I'm going through. So the other part I wanted to talk about is the biggest thing you can do to keep yourself safe in this space is to have a routine. Why? Because you'll remember to do things. Kind of like how you have a routine to mow your lawn. You do it every week. You may not want to do it, but you do it because you know it's good for your lawn. It's good for the curb appeal of your home, if you care. I don't. But other routines is there a routine that you have that you do every week, regardless, rain or shine?
In general, you mean, or in terms
Yeah.
of crypto? Oh yeah, for sure.
Like what? That you're willing to share.
Like, I don't know, exercise, shopping,
Nice.
at certain times of the week, you know. Yeah.
And why did you choose that for your routine? For
'Cause
shopping, for example.
Oh, it just has a certain rhythm. It adds a certain rhythm to your life. You know? So
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. When you have a routine, you get into a rhythm. And the one thing that can get you, especially if you're in security, if you're going to have a security foul up, is fat fingering something, right? Or just doing something out of order. When you do something in a routine, you're more likely to do it over and over again the exact same way. And that's what you're looking for when it comes to building a security routine. One of our best members, Gigi, who's also a part-time coach, she does this every Sunday. She has her security routine day where she will go through. She has a Rabi wallet. She will go ahead and click on the approvals, and she will go and revoke anything that's an approval over a specific amount from the last week. Now, I need to do my what I preach. Actually, I did that already. These are older, but essentially all you need to do is do this and then revoke, and you'll do a batch revoke, and you are good to go while you do that. And what this means is it just means the next time you do a transaction, you're going to have to uh, give them the permission to go through and do this. Now with 7702, that changes, right? It goes from having a separate approval step to everything being in one step, which you would find on Cosmos, which you would find on Solana. So just kind of keep that in mind. But you should still revoke approvals if you have some, because you never know when an older protocol might get compromised, and you may have some funds, or it gives you unlimited access to funds that you may or may not have had, and that's a bad thing. So check on the health of the devices around you. This is both part of off-chain security as well as physical networks. So just make sure that your hardware wallets are in good order, that they work. If they don't, you can just buy a brand new one and then just recover the seed phrase into it. That's the beauty about all of these hardware pieces, is that the seed phrase is not mutually exclusive. So I can take the seed phrase that's generated here and put it in Rabi if I want. I can put it in MetaMask if I want. It'll all still work. Same thing with I'm just saying the same thing in a different way. That also works. Make sure that your network devices are in good order, like your firmware is up to date. Make sure that if you have an app that you have to check in on your phone, make sure that's up to date. Make sure your phone batteries are working, are in good health. Your Wi-Fi network, make sure you have a strong password there if you're using a Wi-Fi network. Things like that. Physical security, just making sure that if somebody comes in and does a $5 wrench attack, that you're not going to be in trouble. And when we mention a $5 wrench attack, that's literally someone coming in with a wrench and just, blunt force objecting the shit out of it. So that was a bit morbid. With on-chain security, you want to make sure that all of your device, your software is up to date. Make sure that you're not on an older version of software. It's interesting. The last Ledger exploit. Do you remember that, Robert? The reason it happened was because of a supply chain issue, in terms of the utility pieces that programmers use broke the software because one piece of it got compromised, and that's how that last exploit happened. Well, the one before, they let somebody who was fired keep their access for some reason. It was an oversight. That's another thing. But regardless, you should change your passwords regularly as well. You never know when something's going to happen. Of course, if you have a seed phrase, the moment your seed phrase gets hacked, you're done anyway. So make sure seed phrase security is tops. Use a password manager. For those of you who are curious, yes, I do copy and paste passwords. It is deactivated literally 10 seconds after I do it. So once you've pasted it, within 10 seconds, your clipboard's empty. The other thing I'd say is just reassess your risk profile often. Do a check to make sure everything is up to date. Just make sure that if what you're willing to compromise in terms of risk. It's important to do so. Anything else that you think is important to talk about with respect to this, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, you already mentioned it. It is good to have wallet sanity.
Yep.
So like shifting wallets every so often is good too. So people are not just tracking your wallets or bringing attention to them.
Yeah,
that's one of the main things I do every so often.
And people can track when you fund between wallets, by the way. So if you want to stop that, that's where CEX comes into play, or the bridge. Yeah, following either of those can be helpful with regards to that.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard to track from going to a CEX and then out of a CEX.
Exactly, and that's why a lot of people I know will still utilize a CEX with regards to moving money back and forth. So, yeah, just a quick message in security, because honestly, that's the easiest way to make money in crypto, is to not lose it. So as long as you have good security, that's all that matters. You just have to understand, if you're going to KYC somewhere, there's a chance that a group like Coinbase, the largest CX in the world, can still have a lapse in judgment like this. Why the rogue customer service people even had access to this is, well, I mean, I can understand if they're like chat agents or something like that, they need access to that. I can understand. No, I still can't. Anyway, it's all about how you do things. Let's be honest. Banks have been no better, if not worse, right? A lot of them still use SMS for 2FA. Do you know how easy it is to get SIM swap attacked in this industry? Even
there's social engineering angles everywhere. I mean,
exactly.
It's definitely absolutely not unique to crypto at all.
Exactly. So yeah, while this sucks, I mean, was it expected at some point? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been a Coinbase customer since 2011. Trying to think how many times this has happened. It's not the first. Maybe 2 times. So, all things considered, that's a pretty decent track record, I think. Sucks. It only affected 0.1% of the user base, but when you're the largest CX in the world, 0.1% is still a large amount of people. So, in the event that you think you may have been compromised, you should have gotten an email. But even if that, go and double check with security at Coinbase.com. They good luck with unlocking that account if you do that, though. I think and I shouldn't laugh on it, but there's a tweet on the timeline that said, first off, congrats to the criminals for even getting into customer service in a timely manner. I shouldn't laugh at that, but I mean, it's so true. Coinbase customer service support is so, good luck getting someone on the phone. Like we've had members who have gotten on the phone with Coinbase. I'm like, first off, congrats on getting on the phone.
Yeah. Everyone who gets on the phone, then should get an airdrop.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just one impossible. Of those things. It's absolutely impossible. And even in the world of AI agents and all these things are building, they still have pretty unfortunate support. We'll just call it that. Hopefully it gets better, You would think it will, now that they've done all this, now that all this has happened. But it's interesting timing considering that they're going to be on S&P 500 on Monday. Starting with that bell, that should shoot coin up to the moon a bit. Obviously, it can't because that's why they have volatility halts on the S&P, or just on the stock market in general. But yeah, big news for them. Definitely reach out to them if you have had any issues, and best of luck to you. Just be safe, be vigilant. We always talk about making sure that you understand the situation that you're in, right? Well, Robert, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite protocols, unless there's something else you want to talk about.
Go ahead.
A protocol I like, if you're going to be in DeFi, our friends at Pendle. We don't have a formal partnership with them, but the door's open, Pendle. If you want to talk, happy to bring all of our educated eyeballs your way. We already do. We talk about you guys all the time on calls. What's Pendle good at? Great question. Pendle is what's called a credit default swap protocol, but they have some tricks up their sleeve. First off, they're not necessarily a yield optimization protocol like Beefy, right? Our friends at Beefy, or some of these others that take existing liquidity and get you to stake in there. They have what are called derivative asset contracts. Probably the best way to describe it. But essentially what they've done is they've taken a very simple concept, which is yield farming, and they've given you a way to speculate on it. So the ability to speculate long or short on the yield of a token over a certain amount of time is crazy business, and they've done it. They went from, they were doing their thing for a couple of years on ETH mainnet, and then suddenly the ETH restaking movement happened with EigenLayer and all of these restaking platforms, and that just brought Pendle, end of 2023 into a darling of DeFi status. They're a top 5 DeFi protocol overall, and a really great way to get some yield. For those of you who are watching and you're like, are these yields real? Yeah, they're absolutely real. So the idea that you can get them on various other, so what does this basically mean? So what they've done is they've taken they've taken a token. In this case, we'll go with X33, which is the liquid staked version of X Shadow on Phantom Sonic. If you use Shadow Exchange, which is right now, I believe, the leading DEX on Phantom Sonic. They've taken the X33, they've wrapped it, created an asset on their platform on it, what's called an SY. And then from there, they've taken that and they've split it into 2 other types of tokens. The PT, which represents the overall principal value of the token. And then the YT, which is the yield that you can expect to earn by investing that token into the market on Pendle over a specific amount of time. That's what this maturity date is for. So basically what this means is if I have X33, which I will be earning through farming on Sonic, on Shadow Exchange, I can take my X33, stick it in this PT, and as long as I'm holding on to this, at the end of 89 days, I will get whatever this is, this appreciation of the token. In this case, it's 110%. So I should be earning 110% of my money if I hold on to this for 89 days. That's what we call the mechanism is like a coupon bond, right? Like a Christmas club type deal. If you go to your bank and you go in March, you put in some money, like a couple, like $500. By the time December comes around, you should have enough money to have a decent Christmas for your family. That's how the Christmas club works with their CD, certificate of deposit. So it's similar to that model, right? Not completely. I would definitely recommend everything you hear today, of course, not financial advice. Do your own research. And of course, don't trust, verify. Always verify things that you hear from people on the internet. You all do it anyway with regards to like reviews on batteries and juicers and stuff like that, or gym memberships or where to eat. You don't just go. You always verify with other people. Is this a good place to go type deal, right? That's the world we live in, right, Robert? Everything is all about verifying and trusting what people say.
In general, yes.
In general, yes. Now, The YT is a little bit different. These are markets. If you go to Pendle swap, you can well, not quite the let's just go here. You click in, and now you can see the market. If you buy or sell the YT, you'll be getting a specific. Ooh, wow, look at that. The idea is, by the time you get to the maturity date for the YT should be most likely close to zero, right? Because at that point, there probably is no yield at that point. The yield will actually go down the closer you get to the maturity date on the YT side. So that's why there is a fun little market uh, with regards to market making on speculating on yield on these assets. Now, what I want to point out is you're not locked into this. So let's say that I'm buying the PT for 89 days. I am not locked for 89 days. I can remove my collateral in here, or my capital collateral in here at any time. You'll just do so at market rates. So let's say that the YT on this is, well, it was a little bit higher, but let's just assume that it's like 1,000%. You want to make sure that you're in a situation where when you retrieve it, it is at where the market is going to be best. Now, we always say don't time the market, but this is where speculating on yield is a very interesting business. And there are a lot of people who are in here. There's tons of money in Pendle, and that's just for X33. We have all these other things here. We have stable coins. We even have an LP, virtual and CBBTC. This is the virtual token along with CBBTC, which is Coinbase's derivative BTC, as an LP on Aerodrome. PT 54% guaranteed, or if you want to play the yield, 27.39. So yes, this will go down as you get closer and closer to the end of the maturity, but that's where the little gamble comes in. So Robert, are you a big Pendle user?
I have in the past, but recently I haven't been too active on it.
Did I explain everything to your satisfaction? Is there anything?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah. This is my first time seeing this actually, so this is cool for me I'm learning too.
Excellent.
But I got more into Pendle in the first, in the original DeFi cycle of 2021, 22, around that time. Yeah, but recently this is new to me.
So I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you why you can do more with Pendle, right? Let me do that. Let me do Sonic, and I'll do Arbitrum as filters. The reason why these are interesting is because you can use these PT tokens as collateral at other websites, other protocols rather. Let me bring up Dolomite. Shout out to our friends at Dolomite. Hopefully y'all are doing well. This is on Arbitrum. Okay. And we are here in the earn where you can actually just supply, and you can't borrow against them. But if I just look here, let me see if I can find a PT. Let me just do a token PT. There we go. Not as many here. Let's go to Barachain. Nope, no PT there. All right, back to Arbitrum. Oh yeah, there's no Pendle on Barachain. That's why. Durr. Anyway, they have this here. So this is the PTR ETH, right? So if I go back to Pendle and I look for RETH, just doing a quick little thing here. There it is. June 25th, I believe that's the same here. Yeah, June 26th, roughly about the same. Obviously not the greatest rates, but the point is you can take this PT and use it as collateral at some of these AMMs to then deposit, earn additional APR on, and then borrow stable coins against them. A better example of this is going to be on Silo Finance. where they have more flexibility. Let me do the Sonic versions of these. Let me do Sonic, and let me do supply token PT. As you can see, now I have all of these PTs, and I have the ability to borrow against them. Doesn't say anything for the APR supply, but they are used in looping strategies. Again, I'm not going to go to that because that's outside of the scope of today's talk. But that's the beautiful thing about Pendle. They've created what we call composable DeFi assets. Think of these as Lego money bricks. The ability to take your Lego money brick and put it into another structure to earn yield. Very cool. That's the one thing we love to see. The ability to take assets from other places and put them here. Like, for example, one of my personal favorites is, where's Aave? Sonic USDC. Right there, AUSDC. 8.5%. Now, Aave USDC is literally this PT. If you go to Aave, we'll choose the Sonic market. It's native USDC. Yay, native USDC now here. Hard plays. So if you go and deposit USDC, again, you're getting 7%, 7% in bonuses, along with 12x points. Just by supplying that, you'll receive a USDC token. You can take that. You can then stake it here in this AUSDC PT, which is earning 8.54%. And then you can take the PT token you get from that and bring it over here to Silo and then put it here in this specific pool. And then you can borrow SCUSD against it. And then with SCUSD, you can do a variety. Actually, I take it back. Borrow. Yeah, there you go. SCUSD. You can do a variety of things. You can also use that PT at a place like SwapX. It's called ASON USD here. Right there. You can actually take those tokens. Actually, let me get the PT. Nothing for the PT. Well, anyway, a couple different options. If you have Aave USDC, you can put it in here. You can put it in Pendle. Like I said, composable money Legos. And that's the beauty of composable assets in DeFi, is the ability to take assets that you receive, hold in your wallet, and then put them to work in various other places. Again, these rates are absolutely real. If I were to put in this right here and hold it until 12 days, I should earn 15% of what I put in there. Should. Obviously, don't trust verify, but that's the idea. And that's why I love Pendle, because there's nothing else really like it. There are other protocols that are very similar to it. For example, Exponent on Solana. You can do something very similar. Fixed APYs, right? But these also do LPs more than just that, but you can do specific things. There's also another one on Solana called RateX. Yes, yes. There you go. And these are coded in a way so you can actually see what the expiration date is, like this for this fragmented sol, fragmetric. I forgot the name of the protocol. It's liquid stake sol. 18% implied yield if you hold it all the way to sometime in August of 2025. So this is Perenna USD star 25.6. This is June 8.54 implied yield. This is way better than your bank, right? And that's the reason why I like these, because they are fairly low fuss, no impermanent loss, by the way. There is going to be some slippage because you are getting a synthetic asset that they split into the PT and the YT. Keep that in mind. You will get some slippage possibly when you're trying to get out of your asset back to the assets you had originally. That is to be understood. That's just kind of a side effect of Pendle having their own market for that. So, have you heard of Exponent or AirX before, Robert?
No, I haven't actually,
Hmm.
but it looks interesting.
Well, there you go, sir. Two new DeFi protocols in the Solana ecosystem you can check out.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, if you're watching out there and you like what you're seeing, please come to our free group, Total Value Locked, where you can learn more about the foundations of everything that we have here. Absolutely free. School.com/beacon. You can learn from myself and our team. We've been in DeFi for a very long time, since the beginning. I've been in since 2019. This has been my full-time career since 2021. So when people say, what's your full-time job? This is it, guys. We're out here educating. We're out here making DeFi accessible to everybody, working with great protocols like our friends with Robert at Talisman, and trying the world on the beauty and great opportunities that are available in decentralized finance, where it's not just one thing to hold crypto, it's another thing to actually get that crypto working for you. So join us, absolutely free. And check out the start here post. While you're there, you get a look at our 3 pathways that we have. You can either join, obviously we just have some content here for free in our introduction to DeFi course. I did put this together over many years of figuring out what you need to go from 0 to 1 with. Or if you want to get there faster, join our accelerator. If you want to be the best and get that wonderful white glove service with our team and get access to our Discord and all the great information that we have in there, join the mastermind. We'll be among the best and be amongst other industry insiders like our friend Robert here from Talisman. So with that said, that is today's call. Just wanted to talk a little bit about what happened with Coinbase, how you should handle that, what your security routine should be. If you don't have one, it's a good day to start one. I know so many people that don't think twice about security, and you really should, because if something happens, you suddenly get drained and you're like, what did I do? What happened? You can kind of put the pieces together depending on your activities on what happened. You probably clicked on a bad link. You did something you probably weren't supposed to. I've seen people get drained because they tried to find a mobile app and they used their phone for DeFi, and the mobile app got access to everything on the phone. I'm telling you guys, you got to be careful. You got to be vigilant. We don't recommend you ever use your phone for DeFi, but I understand, especially in the world of these opportunities in the bull market, you may want to. You just have to understand the risks that come along with it. So after that, we talked about Pendle, one of my favorite protocols here in DeFi. We looked at exactly how it works with regards to their PT and YT token mechanism. And we looked at a couple others that are also doing the same thing. So we also talked about the composability of it, a couple different strategies you can do, obviously, that come along with that. But anything else you want to talk about, Rob? Anything I missed?
I did want to get your opinion on a recent development for one of my favorite projects, Centrifuge.
Yeah.
They introduced the idea. I'm not sure if you can find it without me linking you to it. It's like you search maybe Centrifuge and then DERWA.
Yeah, they're DEUSD, right?
They are launching. It's
Got it.
DERWA. So they're launching like composable RWA tokens.
Nice.
It's pretty cool, I think. Yeah, I wanted to get your take on that.
Oh, so they use USDC to get in, and then you get tokens on the way back out. So you're minting these RWA tokens.
Exactly.
But you have to. I'm assuming they're over collateralized to get in.
Sorry.
That's an assumption. I have no idea if they are, but they haven't come out with that. Sure. They haven't come out with the integration yet. So that would be something to consider. Is with a lot of these minted products, it's generally you're over collateralizing, meaning you're bringing more than 100% of your.
You froze there. Hey everyone, so it looks like Chris's power went out. Waiting for him to get back on. Just a second here. Gonna wait a couple minutes and see if he can get back on. We're back. Okay, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
There we go. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what's funny is that my power went out. So like because we have really high wind going on right now. Like I mentioned before we came on, we're looking at possibly like 60-mile-an-hour winds going on. It
Yeah.
just like kerfluffled. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. And I have a backup. So I for those of you who are in content creation, I think it's good to get um, a backup internet thing, and basically it's in the form of 5G. I will say that because I have Verizon on my backside, uh, it's like $25 a month. You can maybe get it as cheap as $50 a month, and you get like free stuff if you go with the $50 plan. I don't do that, but because I just use it as a backup, it actually isn't bad. I can get roughly 100 megs down and like 40 up on a good day. But in general, it's good enough to do streaming. I did do it for a little bit. Wasn't nearly as good as now that I have gigabit Ethernet. Of course, I never get that half the time because Cox. And I'm in this weird zone where every other fiber company goes around me and not to me. which is like, why?
What about Starlink?
Oh, it's way too slow. Way too slow.
Okay.
That's not reliable. One of our team members, he's out in the UK, out in the countryside. He has Starlink, and he gets Starlink rugged all the time. So, I mean, when it works great. It's good enough. But is it like reliable? But he does game, so I'm assuming it's good enough. It just depends on, in the event that it goes a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So, not sure exactly where you lost me. I just know that I just started shouting expletives into the microphone.
We didn't hear those. No,
Yeah.
but we were just covering the centrifuge thing, and then
yeah. So yeah, centrifuge. I don't even know where that. Oh, it's right here. I was like, where did that window even go?
it blew up.
There you go. Yeah. So we don't know. We don't really know exactly yet what's going on, but the fact that they have these pools going around, which is what you need, right? You need strong, deep liquidity pools for this to happen, and it looks like that's what they're doing. So that's cool. Would love to see this on more than just Ethereum mainnet, but I'm assuming that's where it's going to start.
I think it's going to be pretty multi-chain because like they're launching on a variety of chains as they shift away from Polkadot, but I'm not certain about that. I would imagine so though, because they're really pushing this multi-chain launch. So
we're looking at the Spark liquidity layer, right? So this is ETH mainnet for sure. Oh, that means that if I'm seeing what I'm seeing here, they probably are going to be building on 4626 vaults, so we should see them cross chain. That would make sense. That would make. Please tell me you're doing that.
I'm pretty sure that's the direction they're heading in. Yeah.
All right, cool. That's great.
I mean, they're up. They're also. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was sparked by this news, but they're up 60% on the day too.
Well, there's this too. Starting May 20th, holders of CFG and WCFG will be able to migrate to the new CFG token. So I can't believe they don't follow that. I should. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think that's going to be very bullish for them. This migration plus multi-chain plus highly composable.
Yeah.
RWA assets. Yeah. For sure.
No, this is good. I'm happy to see this.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest blockers in RWAs in general, but specifically centrifuge. Just like how can these actually be used in a more nimble and productive way in DeFi?
Yeah. Well, we're about to find out. I'm curious to see what type of RWA tokens they have, especially if they tokenize everything. Like imagine stocks, imagine oil commodities, gold, silver, which already happening. But some of these others that can come on chain. If we see these types of institutional grade RWAs for DeFi that anyone can own and anyone can use for yield, that's big news, in my personal opinion.
Yeah,
we need to see more of this for sure. So, thanks for that. I'm really excited to see that actually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, guys, we were on our way out anyway, so what a weird way to end the stream, but it is what it is. We had powered. We're having really high winds here, 60, 70 miles an hour. Probably just knocked out something quickly. We have underground utilities, so kind of weird that even happened. But overall, been a good show. Thanks again, Robert, for joining us. Please feel free to plug what you like.
Yeah, I'm with Talisman Wallet, so go to Talisman XYZ, talisman.xyz, and give the wallet a spin. Got a really nice, very intuitive interface. Working on building out some more features. Recently integrated with Coinbase on-ramp, which makes it really, really easy to buy assets there. And actually, we have zero fee USDC onboarding or on-ramp. Actually,
nice.
Useful. It's technically 100. It's technically 100K USDC, but we're probably not going to reach that limit too quickly.
Awesome. That's good to know. Little alpha there for you guys. Yeah, and feel free to catch us on Wednesdays, of course, for our Total Value Lock podcast. You will see uh, Robert and other our fantastic bright minds, friends of the show, on those panels. We did tweet today we're having Tao Fu from Subnet65 at BitTensor doing a Tao private network. Check out the links from there, and we'll see you Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, for our TVL flagship podcast. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Beacons up, banks down. Keep beating those banks, ladies and gentlemen. See you later. Have a great day. Up, almost clicked the wrong button.